So I messed up, and I jumped in this portal, and now I'm stuck in this strange dimension. This is Minecraft stranded in the Twilight Forest. In day 21, I ventured deeper into the dark forest. There was definitely more to be found. Sure enough, when I went deeper into the heart of the forest, I found these red trees, and I saw a little structure. Yeah, at least I thought it was a little structure until I looked up, and this happened to be the biggest tower I have ever seen. This was gonna be an interesting journey, I could already tell. I found these weird looking blocks which looked like the entrance, and I clicked on it, and the blocks just started disappearing. And then they reappeared after a few seconds. Pretty cool. I wondered if I could get them after the dungeon. I went on through all of the doors, and I found myself in the first floor of this ginormous dungeon. So far on the first floor, nothing special, just a little fire. On the next couple floors, there was nothing but bookshelves and a few dispensers and brewing stands. So far, nothing that really wanted to kill me, so that was good. Well, until I found these mini ghasts that kinda started shooting at me, but I took them down before they could do anything. They didn't have much health, so it was pretty easy. I had a feeling I was gonna start seeing a lot more mobs, considering this was only the third floor, and the dungeon looked insanely big. I let this creeper blow the skeleton into outer space, and I went up to the fourth floor, and I saw a different looking room. There were some witches and this weird golem thing at the bottom. I tried taking out the witch before I could take out the golem. Unfortunately, the golem seemed like it had the same mechanics as an iron golem, and it was hard to take it down without me getting hit. I decided to build up, and there was another one, so I built up even higher. When I got a little higher, I figured out that there was a spawner, so that was pretty much where all the mobs were coming from. I took out both of the golems, and they dropped a few iron. I looked up, and I still had a long way to go, and I had to kind of build over these wood logs, just hoping I wouldn't fall through. One fall, and it was pretty much over. I got a little higher, and it seemed like the rooms were becoming more nether themed. I heard blazes, so I went up to the next floor, and I took out a few of them. Of course, I went to mine the spawner, and this giant bug just wants to pick me up. That's cool. I broke the spawner finally, but unfortunately, this was probably the first one out of 100 spawners I would be breaking. I found a little secret chest in the middle, and this creeper tried blowing it up, but the creeper was unsuccessful, and I found this thing called Experiment 115. It kind of looked like food, so I tried eating it. Well, after this spider just dive bombed me. It turns out you could eat it, but then accidentally I clicked it on the floor and it placed like cake, and it definitely looked a little weird. I finally got to the top of one of the towers, and I looked down and I saw a giant ghast. Maybe this was one of the bosses, I don't know. I went down and I tried shooting it. I was very thankful that I had a Power 3 Infinity bow, because that means I could pretty much shoot unlimited arrows. I took out one of them, and I decided to use my insane water bucket skills to make my way down there. Sometimes you just have to risk it to look cool. Well, after jumping down there, I found two more that were shooting fireballs at me. But fortunately, Power 3 bow was too strong for him, and I took him out in only a few hits. You know, I was kind of hoping these were the final bosses, but after I figured out that they dropped nothing, I was pretty sure that there was still a final boss. And I looked up, and I probably wasn't even 25% of the way up there. Okay, so I already spent one day navigating this whole tower, and I barely got anywhere. On to the next day, I broke my way into the main tower, and this ghast almost fireballed me off. If it wasn't for my shield, my journey in the Twilight Forest would for sure be over. I tried hitting the fireball back with my sword, but I had no luck and I couldn't really aim, so I decided to settle with the bow, and it worked. When I got up higher, I found a room that had item frames on the wall. I followed the recipe, and this was the recipe for vanishing blocks. I then found this weird machine in the corner of the room that had a bunch of levers, so I pulled all of them, which pushed the redstone blocks into the middle of whatever block this was. After doing the fourth one, it turned into diamond and gold blocks. I was getting ready to mine them, and this definitely wasn't right. Yeah, no, definitely shouldn't have done this. The floor and ceiling started breaking everywhere, and I wasn't really sure what was gonna happen. And then a bunch of mini ghast spawned. Yeah, so if you're planning on doing that, I suggest you don't. You will just be disappointed, even though I did end up doing it again. After a long time, I finally made it to the top of the tower, and this ginormous ghast spawned. It was called the Ur-ghast. This thing was bigger than any mob I have seen. It started raining down ghast tears and started shooting fireballs at me. When I went under the ghast tears, it looked like they started poisoning me or something like that. Okay, so now was a really good time to be thankful for my Power 3 Infinity bow, because if I did not have enough arrows, I would not have beat this boss. Actually, I wouldn't have any chance to do any damage without it. I started hitting the fireballs back at it, and it seemed like the fireballs did a good amount of damage, but he only fired fireballs once every few minutes. Unfortunately, the gas tears did so much damage that it broke my diamond helmet, and I had to survive without a helmet. I didn't think I had time to craft a new one. I kept shooting the Urgas for minutes and minutes. That was the only thing I could do, and occasionally, I shot the fireballs back at him. This was quite possibly one of the longest fights I have been in, and even the Urgas started healing from something I don't know where. But finally, I hit one fireball back at him, and I got him to no health, and I did one final bow shot, and I defeated the Urgas. The Urgas didn't drop anything except XP, but some chests spawned in the middle. I was waiting for it to stop raining, but it didn't stop raining. So I just opened the chest in the middle, and we only got a few things. One of them was the Urgas trophy, which of course I was going to collect. The second thing I got was Carmenite, which were used for the invisible blocks, and the last thing I got were Fiery Tears, but I didn't know what they did. This was such a long dungeon takedown, but hopefully defeating the Urgas unlocked something else. It was day 25 and I had been running for a little bit. I wanted to see what these Fiery Tears could do. It turns out when you combine the Fiery Tears with an iron ingot, you get fiery ingots. So I made 8 ingots, and it turns out you can also make armor with these. It was called fiery armor. It looked a little better than diamond, and it also said it burns attackers. So I made the helmet and I looked pretty cool. I got protection 3 on it, so now I was pretty stacked. And that's when I looked up and I saw something completely new. It looked like some sort of giant cloud, and there was this new biome that I found, except it was raining. I knew it must have been some sort of curse or something, because when I stepped under the rain, I just started taking damage. It was almost like it was acid rain or something. You know what happens now? We find the troll. I found the troll and I got the book from him. I picked up the book and it was called Notes on the Highlands. I guess that's what this biome was. I skipped to the end, and it talked about how I need to take down a boss in the Searing Swamp, a deep forest, and the snow biome. I already just took down the deep forest, so that left me with one choice. Oh man, back to the fire swamp. I wasn't looking forward to this one. Yep, here he was. This was the Hydra. I feel like I needed a little time to prepare, but I decided to take a shot at him, and of course, he doesn't take bow damage. Well, that's just great. This is gonna be so fun.